Manifest miraculous abundance, love, and wealth. Supernatural energy unleashed in 3 divine steps. In the heart of a quaint English town, the sun broke through the gray clouds as Mary entered St. James Church, her soul heavy with worry. Life had turned upside down, but today felt different. As her feet touched the sacred ground, something stirred within her. It was as if an unseen force filled the air, a divine invitation waiting to be accepted. Mary joined her fellow congregants, the atmosphere thick with the scent of burning candles. They prayed fervently, voices rising like incense to the heavens, asking St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes, to work his miracles. "Abundance in Christ!" shouted Pastor Thomas, his voice powerful and soothing all at once. Mary's heart quickened. Suddenly she felt the warmth of faith flood over her, wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. As prayers echoed, a whispered prophecy spoke straight to her soul. Abundance is coming through the act of faithful giving. The words struck her with electricity, igniting hope she thought had vanished. Yet standing there, the weight of her finances dimmed that spark. Her last coins barely stretched to groceries. But could faith truly bring miracles? Amidst her doubts, a vulnerability began to unravel. In a moment of clarity, inspired by the stirring words of her pastor, Mary decided to step forward. With trembling hands, she took her final few pounds and shared them with a struggling family down the street. Her heart ached for their plight, resonating with her own. Weeks tumbled by in a haze of unanswered job applications. Each morning, Mary rose, juggling the demands of her little ones while trying to cloak her disappointed heart in hope. One evening, tears streamed down her cheeks. Alone in her room, she fell to her knees, whispering to God. In that raw moment, peace washed over her, as gentle as a summer breeze, bringing reassurances from the depths of her soul. She was still a vibrant presence at church, yet doubts shadowed her heart. The annual Harvest Festival was around the corner, crackling the air with excitement, but echoing a call for unity among the community. Mary prayed harder. "Lord, show me a sign." Then the festival dawned, bright leaves carpeting the earth as families gathered. Laughter danced on the breeze, but Mary felt a weight pressing down again. "Will our efforts be enough?" she pondered, watching delighted children scamper about. Yet as Mary looked around, an incredible sight unfolded. Acts of generosity sparked everywhere like fireworks in the night sky. Neighbors lending hands, sharing harvests, and embracing those in need. But just as hope ignited, a conflict arose, looming larger than before and threatening to unravel everything. Mary's heart raced. Would she be able to stand firm amidst the storm? Would faith and unity triumph over their trials? As the tension built, it became abundantly clear. The divine lesson of trust, sharing, and God's favor hung in the balance. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Mary watched kindness ripple through the crowd, an electric buzz filled her spirit. She sensed a miraculous chain reaction swirling in the air. Could love conquer despair? The question hung heavily. Would her faith withstand the trials ahead, or was a deeper revelation of divine grace waiting just beyond the horizon? The festival's vibrant colors seemed to dance in joyful harmony, but a shadow cast itself over Mary's heart. As she weaved through the crowd, absorbing the laughter and spirit of togetherness, unease pinched her thoughts. Uncertainty clung to her like morning mist, thick and heavy. She paused beside a stall overflowing with fresh produce, the vibrant hues symbolizing the bounty of the harvest. It wasn't the bright apples that caught her eye, but the deep longing within her soul for a different kind of abundance. "Will it ever be enough?" she whispered, her thoughts encased in worry as they tangled like the vines of the pumpkin patch nearby. Her gaze fell upon a little boy, no older than 6, joyfully clutching a pumpkin twice his size. His laughter floated through the air, pulling her heartstrings taut. Mary's mind wandered to the possibilities of her own little ones, needing that laughter, that joy in times of struggle. While the festival buzzed with excited chatter, Pastor Thomas stepped to the center stage, his presence grounding. the murmurs quieted, reverence filling the void. Today, we celebrate not just our harvest, but the love that binds us as a community. We must share our blessings freely, even in our wants. Each word etched itself into Mary's heart, resonating like a melodious hymn. Yet, doubt scratched at the edges of her mind. What if sharing leaves me bare? She thought bitterly. A small flicker of fear was building inside her, a dangerous ember that had the potential to extinguish the light of hope she'd been nurturing. But was it not true that sometimes in moments of vulnerability, one finds true strength? As the pastor spoke kind, encouraging words, Mary felt a gentle nudge, a warmth blooming within her. It was as if God was whispering, guiding her toward a path of purpose. Could her small act of charity blossom into something greater? Suddenly, an old woman approached her, eyes sparkling beneath her gray hair. "You've been heavy with worries, child." It was an observation that felt almost invasive, but Mary nodded. There was something comforting in the woman's voice, a soothing balm on her heart. Worry drains the spirit. It leaves no room for miracles. Mary swallowed hard, reflecting on the sacrifices she had made and the faith she was holding imperfectly. "But I have little to give," she admitted softly. The woman placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Start with love, my dear. Abundance flows from a loving heart, not a full pocket." Mary looked into the woman's eyes, and a sense of clarity illuminated her thoughts. Perhaps her fears were merely veils, shrouding the truth that love and abundance could manifest in ways she hadn't yet understood. As if sensing a shift within her, Pastor Thomas resumed his address. "Let us not forget the call to unity. Remember how through trials joy can arise. We are stronger together." With every word, hope knitted itself tightly around Mary's spirit. With a newfound spark igniting in her heart, Mary decided to venture deeper into the festival. The air buzzed with energy, laughter, kindness, and shared moments intermingled as warm sunlight cascaded through the cool autumn air. She found herself gravitating towards the crowd, blending into the throng of caring souls. Yet, just as serenity surrounded her, a loud commotion erupted near the pumpkin stall. A shout pierced through the harmony, and Mary's heart raced. What could be happening? Was fear creeping back in, challenging her newfound resolve? "Help! Someone please help!" a cry echoed. In the midst of joy, conflict arose once more. Would she face this challenge with the love that had started to envelop her? Would her faith be tested yet again in a situation that could change everything? What was God trying to reveal to me through this? Mary pondered, her heart pounding. It was a moment of divine reality shaping her spirit, calling her to act and trust. But how would she respond to what lay ahead? Mary's breath caught in her throat as she turned toward the source of the urgent cry. A circle was forming around the pumpkin stall, faces turning pale with concern. She pushed her way through the curious crowd, heart racing, each step echoing the questions in her mind. What was happening? Was someone hurt? As she reached the front, her heart sank. A young woman knelt on the ground, cradling a small girl who had fallen. The girl's ankle twisted at an odd angle, tears streaming down her face like a river of anguish. Mary's heart clenched. This was a moment that called for action, a divine opportunity to share love. The crowd was murmuring, uncertainty hanging thick in the air. Some looked helpless, while others seemed paralyzed by the unexpected misfortune. Mary's heart urged her to step forward. She felt a warmth growing in her chest as she recalled the old woman's words. Was it possible that love was the surge of energy needed to bring change? Gathering her courage, she knelt beside the mother and child. "What happened?" she asked softly, her voice soothing and steady amidst the clamor. "My daughter fell while playing," the woman replied, panic glittering in her eyes. "I think she's hurt badly." Mary reached out to the little girl, whose whimpers tugged painfully at her heart. "Can I hold your hand?" she asked gently. The girl nodded, her face still scrunched with pain but trusting. Mary grasped the child's tiny hand in hers. Instinctively she closed her eyes, flooding her thoughts with love and hope. "Lord, I need your strength," she whispered. "Help us." As she squeezed the little girl's hand, a calmness washed over her. It was as if a divine energy surged through their connection, sparking something transformational. The air felt lighter and brighter, the atmosphere shifting. A gasping breath escaped the mother as she witnessed this unexplainable display. Around them, the crowd hushed, the murmurs fading to a reverent silence. Mary could almost hear the whispers of the Spirit encouraging her, pushing her further. "Sweetheart," Mary said, channeling every ounce of encouragement she had. "You are brave and you are loved. Let's give your ankle a little prayer, okay?" With a nod, the girl bravely met Mary's gaze. Mary continued, "Dear Father, we ask for your healing touch. May this little girl know your love and strength. We believe in miracles." The world around them faded away. All that remained was the warmth of love enveloping the small gathering. As she finished praying, Mary opened her eyes. The child's tension was gone, the tears drying up like blossoms under a gentle sun. "Take a deep breath," Mary instructed. "Now try standing up, just a little. You can do it." With cautious determination, the little girl slowly lifted herself. A collective gasp pierced the crowd as she put weight on her ankle. Tentatively, she wiggled her toes, a smile blossoming on her face as pain receded and joy bloomed in its place. I can stand, she proclaimed, her joy contagious. Laughter erupted from those gathered, gratitude spilling from their hearts like a sweet song. Mary's own heart soared in response. In that moment, she realized something profound. Abundance wasn't just material. It was love, hope, and faith in action. This was the richness she had been seeking all along. As the girl jumped up and down, her mother embraced her tightly, tears of gratitude falling freely. Pastor Thomas stepped forward, delight shining in his eyes. What we have witnessed today is a reminder that love is what sustains us, keeps us whole. Mary felt the stirrings in her heart, a spark igniting further revelations. Would this act of divine love reveal more truths? Was this just the beginning? With the festival crowd erupting in spontaneous joy, Mary couldn't shake the sense of adventure swarming around her. There was still more to discover beneath the surface of this moment. How can I be used next by God, she wondered, feeling the excitement of potential dancing just out of reach. How would her faith evolve through this experience? As laughter filled the air, Mary knew her journey was far from over. She was on the brink of greater revelations, but what path would God reveal next? The laughter from the crowd still echoed in Mary's ears, a sweet chorus of relief after the turmoil. She rose to her feet, heart trembling with gratitude. The little girl was dancing, and each leap resonated deeply within Mary's spirit, awakening something beautiful. She felt the warmth of the sun on her face, but even more, she felt the warmth of God's love igniting hope. "Isn't it wonderful?" a voice chimed beside her. It was Pastor Thomas smiling broadly. "You've shown what faith can do. You were a vessel today, Mary." Mary smiled back, the simple acknowledgement stirring something deep inside her. Each person gathered around them reflected that same light of wonder, their faces painted with awe and smiles that seemed to bloom like flowers in spring. "What if," Mary began, her voice barely above a whisper, "what if we could carry this feeling beyond today? What if we could share this love with those who can't be here? Imagine the impact." Her heart raced with a new vision, sparked by the miracle she had witnessed. Pastor Thomas placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Oh, Mary, you have tapped into something precious. Love, in its purest form, isn't meant to stay contained. It's meant to flow and grow." Mary considered his words. She thought of those who might feel alone or forgotten. "I wonder how many people out there are waiting for this kind of love," she mused. "What can we do to reach them?" Pastor Thomas nodded, a light shining in his eyes. "We can create a community of love, a way for us all to share in this abundance. Perhaps we start small and let God expand it. Like the loaves and fishes, a little bit can feed many." The thought sparked a fiery hope within her. In her heart, she could feel the tentacles of divine purpose wrapping around her soul. Maybe, just maybe, this was not just a festival moment, but the beginning of something much grander. She looked back at the mother and daughter, still embracing amidst laughter and joy. "We could hold gatherings, share meals, create space for prayer," Mary suggested enthusiastically. "We could invite others in, showing them they are never alone." As excitement danced in the air, the crowd began to buzz with the prospect of amplifying their love. Ideas fluttered like playful butterflies, the influence of one miracle blossoming into many. Then, as the sun began to set, casting golden rays across the festival, Mary felt a stillness sweep over her. It wasn't just the excitement of new ideas, it was a deeper prompting. The warmth of enlightenment wrapped around her like a cozy blanket. "Let's pray," she said, her voice steady now. They all formed a circle, hands clasping in unity. Mary led them, her heart rising as she prayed not just for their current joy, but for the journeys ahead. The prayer flowed, weaving hope, vision, and collective purpose into the air, lifting their spirits higher. As they said Amen, a hush fell over the crowd. It was then that a young man stepped forward from the periphery, his eyes filled with a mix of hesitation and courage, locked onto Mary's. "I heard what happened with the girl, and I need your help too," he said softly, and a trembling hand pointed toward his leg. Mary's heart raced anew. Could this be another moment waiting to unfold? "What is it?" she asked, the excitement mingling with the urgency of the moment. His voice cracked. "I've had this injury for years, and I feel like you can help me too." The crowd held its breath, the atmosphere charged with anticipation. This was a pivotal moment, a chance to dive deeper into the well of divine love laid before them. Mary's spirit stirred. Could faith bloom again? With uncertainty sparking inspiration, she glanced at the people around her. What would it look like for love to manifest here, right now? As she knelt down, she felt the weight of the moment. How far would God take this? The flame of possibility flickered brightly, and Mary knew her journey was taking on a new, unexpected dimension. What healing would unfold next? The young man's eyes glistened with hope and desperation, capturing Mary's attention fully. She could sense the crowd lean in, each breath held in unison, awaiting the next chapter in this growing story of love and faith. She knelt before him, aware that this moment was not just about his injury, but a reflection of something larger, the aching desire for healing that lived within the hearts of many. "What's your name?" she asked gently, letting the authenticity of her voice provide a blanket of comfort. "Jonathan," he responded, his voice barely a whisper. "Jonathan," she repeated, feeling the weight of his name resonate within her. "It's a beautiful name. You are not alone. You know that, right?" She smiled at him, and for a brief moment she saw his shoulders relax. "I've tried so hard," he admitted, looking down at the ground. "I've seen doctors, gone through therapies, but nothing has worked. It's like it's over for me. But today, seeing that little girl, I felt something stir in my heart." As he spoke, Mary positioned herself to hold his gaze steady. She could see strength and fragility intertwined, like delicate threads woven together in a tapestry. "God has a purpose for everyone, including you, Jonathan. Your journey isn't finished yet." She took a deep breath. "Let's pray together, shall we?" A thrill of anticipation rippled through her. This was the opportunity she had longed for, a chance to actively participate in the supernatural unfolding of God's plan. Jonathan nodded, his resolve hardening. As Mary began to pray, she felt the warmth of the Holy Spirit envelop them, a sacred embrace. The crowd joined in silently, a collective heartbeat of faith thrumming around them. "Lord," she began, her voice steady and clear, "we gather here in your name, full of hope. We ask for a touch of your mighty hand upon Jonathan. Restore him, heal him, reveal the power of your love and grace." With each affirmation, she felt the energy deepen, pulsing like the beat of a drum, echoing with divine promise. For a moment, time stood still. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting an almost surreal golden light over the crowd, as if heaven itself was shining brightly upon them. A soft breeze danced through the air, carrying with it an inexplicable peace that rippled over Mary and Jonathan like a gentle wave. "Feel God's love, Jonathan," she urged softly. "Let it wash over every part of you." Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as she sensed a palpable shift. The atmosphere crackled with possibility. Mary glanced at the surrounding faces, their expressions filled with wonder and hope, igniting a fire of unity among them. "I believe in miraculous healing," she proclaimed, her voice emphasizing the truth that was building within her. "And together we stand in faith, ready to witness God's wonders." With one hand hovering over Jonathan's injured leg, she whispered a quiet plea for faith to unite them all in this moment, drawing strength from those around her. As she pressed her hand into a gentle warmth, she felt a stirring within Jonathan, like ripples spreading across calm waters. Then the crowd gasped as Jonathan's expression changed, his eyes widening, a mixture of disbelief and joy lighting up his features. He flexed his leg, moving it tentatively at first, then with growing confidence. I can feel something," he exclaimed, his voice shaking with excitement. "It doesn't hurt." The crowd erupted, an organic explosion of joy and praise. Tears flowed freely as witnesses began to dance in celebration of this miracle. Their grateful voices blended into a symphony of worship, celebrating the healing love of God that had just swept through their midst. But in the heart of the whirlwind, something deeper tugged at Mary. This moment was just the beginning. What more could God do if love continued to flow? As the jubilant cries echoed around her, she realized they needed to harness this power for greater purpose. What if they could inspire not just a handful but a community to believe in their own miracles? "Let's continue to walk this path together," she called, her voice rising above the joyful noise. "Let's reach out and share this love beyond our circle. God has so much more in store for us." And just then, as the sun finally dipped below the horizon, casting a soft twilight over the gathering, a voice rang out from the crowd, hungry for more. "What's next, Mary? What do we do after this?" A thrill coursed through her veins at the question. It was the perfect opening, and all she could think was, if today was just the beginning, what if they dared to dream bigger? What miracles awaited them on this journey of faith? The cheers of the crowd hung in the air like a fragrant incense, a sweet offering of gratitude that touched the very heart of God. Mary felt the joy surrounding her, wrapping around like a warm blanket. Yet the question echoing from the back of the gathering lingered in her mind like an unquenchable fire. It was a call to action, a beckoning for her to step forward into the unknown. "What do we do after this?" The voice had spoken for many. It was a revelation of their collective yearning for more. Mary took a moment, surveying the faces around her, each one illuminated by hope and longing. They had witnessed a miracle today. But as the sun vanished completely, leaving behind a canvas of deep blue twilight speckled with stars, she realized they were not satisfied with a single encounter. They were hungry for transformation, for a movement that could sweep through their community, changing lives beyond this gathering. "Let us meet regularly," she suggested, her heart racing with excitement. "We can share testimonies of healing and miracles and pray together, strengthening our faith." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, bolstered by a shared sense of possibility. Faces lit up, eager to embrace this vision. The light of faith sparked within them, igniting something profound, something they could not quite define but felt deep in their souls. "And we should reach out to others who are struggling, those who need this hope too," Mary urged. "Imagine the families who feel isolated in their despair, longing for a touch from God. We can be that light for them." "Yes," someone shouted. "Let's spread this love. We must tell them what happened today." With renewed determination, a wave of motivation surged through the crowd. Each voice raised together created a melody of commitment, a chorus of believers ready to share their testimony. Jonathan, still trembling with the remnants of his own miracle, took a step forward. "I want to help. My family has been through so much. Let us organize a gathering where we can all share our pain and healing." His words pierced the evening air like arrows directed at the heart of the matter. Mary felt a rush of affirmation sweep through her. Each of them had their own stories, their own battles, and now they could form a collective tapestry of faith. "Let's meet tomorrow," Mary cried out, pure excitement bubbling over. "We'll create a space for sharing, for prayer, and for believing together." The crowd responded with eager cheers, a symphony of enthusiasm echoing into the night. Mary felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders, but it was coupled with an exhilarating hope. They were about to embark on a journey, a mission to invite others into this miraculous love. As the first stars began to sprinkle the darkening sky, a strong sense of purpose pulsed through her. This was not merely about one miracle. It was about community, unity, and shared faith. The possibilities felt infinite. But just as she marveled at the beauty of their resolve, an unsettling thought brushed against her spirit. They might encounter obstacles, doubts, and fears along the way. Would they be ready to face those challenges? Would their resolve hold firm when tested? As her heart swelled with the excitement of tomorrow, a flicker of doubt threatened to dim the light. She needed wisdom, guidance, and the courage to lead her friends into this divine journey. "Lord," she whispered beneath her breath, eyes lifted to the heavens, "give us strength as we step forward together. Show us how to navigate this path in faith, and prepare the hearts of those we are to reach." In that moment of quiet prayer, the first shimmering lights of the festival lanterns began to glow around the gathering, casting a gentle warm light that hinted at the miracles ahead. And as laughter erupted anew, painting the evening with joy, Mary's spirit stirred with energy, reassured by a deep conviction. This was just the opening chapter of a much greater story, one that would deliver divine transformations. Yet what awaited them with every step they took? What challenges and victories lay ahead on this exhilarating journey? The night's silence wrapped around her, pregnant with mystery. The adventure had only just begun. The sun climbed lazily over the horizon the next day, casting its golden light across the fields where the gathering would take place. Mary felt a thrill coursing through her as she made her way to the designated spot, her heart a drumbeat of anticipation. This was the day they would begin to weave their stories into a collective tapestry of faith, and she could feel the Spirit beckoning her forward. As she approached, she found Jonathan already there, setting up chairs in a circle, his face radiating the joy of someone who believed they were part of something profound. "Good morning, Mary," he called out, waving enthusiastically. "I invited a couple of families who were in need of hope. They're right behind me." The warmth in his voice kindled the flame of excitement in her chest. "That's wonderful, Jonathan. This is what it's all about, bringing people together." As others began to arrive, Mary greeted each person with hugs and smiles. She could see in their eyes a shared understanding, a kindred spirit that spoke of struggles and victories unknown to each other. Yet they were united under one mighty purpose. The circle came to life with vibrant voices, recounting struggles and triumphs experienced through faith. "I lost my job a year ago," a woman named Sarah confessed, her voice trembling yet resolute. "But through prayer and community support, I found a new start. God led me to true provision. I hadn't believed in miracles until I became one myself." Applause erupted. Hope was palpable as each story sparked a wave of encouragement, each testimony weaving deeper bonds. Mary rose to speak, heart full. "Today, we gather not only to share our stories, but to create a movement of hope. We are not limited by our past, nor defined by our struggles. We carry the light, and we must let it shine, to those still wandering in darkness." The crowd stirred, nodding in agreement. She continued, "What if God dreams bigger than we do? What if together we unleash a wave of love that transforms our community? Let's not just talk about our miracles. Let's be agents of change." A holy hush fell over them, as if the very air shifted. It was a moment of clarity that echoed in their hearts, igniting a fire of purpose. Then a gentle voice broke through the stillness. "But what if we fail? What if doubts creep in?" It was Caleb, a quiet man often lost in the crowd. The sincerity in his question stilled the room. Mary stepped forward, encouraged by the uncertainty that acknowledged the fragility of belief. "That's part of the journey, Caleb. Doubt will find all of us at times. It's how we respond that matters." Jesus walked with his disciples, sharing their fears, and lifted them into faith. We must lean on each other. We are a family, each heart beat as one, trusting in the bond they were forging. They began to break off into small prayer groups, hands clasped together. Words of encouragement flowed like rivers. "We will rise together, for where 2 or 3 are gathered, he is there," Jonathan exclaimed, his voice sincere and buoyant. As prayers ascended, a sudden breeze swept through the gathering, stirring the leaves as if the heavens themselves responded. Some opened their eyes, watching the leaves dance wildly, filled with wonder. Mary felt the air thicken with divine presence, a reminder that they were not alone. In that sacred space, dreams began to stretch. Mary glimpsed visions of greater gatherings, inspiring change in their community, healing families, restoring hope, and bringing forth abundance. A surge of faith birthed longing in her heart, but amongst the echoing prayers, a question lingered in her thoughts. Would their faith be strong enough to sustain the momentum? Would they maintain unity and strength through trials ahead? The gathering ended on a note of fervor, but Mary's heart remained tentative, contemplating the challenges that loomed like shadows in the distance. "Lord," she whispered in prayer, "guide us as we grow together. Help us walk worthy of this calling you've placed upon us." With the sun setting on their first meeting, she looked around, infused with divine energy and love, inspired by the possibilities of tomorrow. But could they weather the storms that lay ahead? Would they remain steadfast in light and in love? The answers seemed to shimmer just out of reach, teasing the air with profound mystery. Their adventure had only just begun. The next morning, Mary awoke with the sun's glow spilling through her window, illuminating the soft edges of her thoughts. A sense of urgency quickened her heartbeat. The gathering from the day before still resonated in her soul, a blend of hope and heavy contemplation. Over coffee, she reflected on the path that lay ahead. "Is this just the beginning, Lord?" she whispered, unsure yet yearning for understanding. The truth settled like a gentle weight in her spirit. They needed a plan, something to direct their soaring faith into tangible actions. In unity, they could become a force, a magnificent wave of change. As Mary prepared to meet Jonathan again, she felt the quiet stirrings of divine inspiration. "We should create a plan," she murmured to herself, "a way to channel this energy into something real." As she stepped outside, the fresh breeze wrapped around her, filling her lungs with possibility. At the park, Jonathan was already pacing, hands on his hips. His expression shifted from worry to excitement as she joined him. "Mary, I've been thinking about what we talked about yesterday," he said, his eyes alight with revelation. "What if we establish specific goals, projects that will uplift the community? We could inspire others to join us." "Exactly," Mary replied, her heart racing with the potential of their conversation. "Imagine establishing a food drive, or perhaps workshops to empower those who've lost hope. Let's help them become self-sufficient." Jonathan nodded eagerly. "And we can share personal stories of transformation so they see that hope isn't just a concept, it's real, alive, and ready for the taking." The rest of the day fell into harmonious chaos as they reached out to the families in their community, gathering ideas and finding volunteers. Word spread quickly, and excitement bloomed as others joined their cause. With each conversation, they felt God stitching their lives closer together. Faith was weaving itself into a tangible fabric of community. That evening, as they gathered in their homes for prayer, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. Mary led the group, challenging them to envision their goals. "Let's focus on 3 key steps," she said passionately. "First, we'll provide love and service. Second, we'll equip others with necessary skills, practical ways to rise from their struggles. And lastly, we'll celebrate victories together, reigniting hope one story at a time." As prayers ascended, the room filled with a chorus of amens and newfound dreams, a sacred rhythm resonating against the walls, harmonizing with the divine. They envisioned initiatives that could provide food, clothing, and resources beyond what they each had thought possible. Yet just beneath the bubbling excitement, a stir of doubt crept in once more. Caleb, ever the thoughtful soul, raised his voice again, shaking off the emerging thoughts that loomed in the corners. "Mary, what if we can't find enough resources? What if our ideas don't reach those who need them most?" Mary took a deep breath, steeling her heart against the tide of worry. "Caleb, we can't let fear dictate our purpose. What God calls us to do, He equips us for. We have each other and the promise of His provision." The group rallied around her words, igniting a fresh commitment to their mission. Jonathan spoke up. "We're stepping into the unknown together. Every obstacle is just another opportunity for God to show up." Their resolve strengthened, a wave of unity washed over them, sharper than any doubts. As they finished their prayers and shared a meal, laughter floated through the air. True abundance radiated despite uncertainty. But as the sun set, Mary found herself staring out into the dusky horizon. Shadows danced in the twilight, reminding her that light and darkness coexisted. Would they hold on to their faith as the challenges grew? Were they truly ready to act on faith, stepping into uncharted waters? The questions lingered, drawing her ever deeper into the mystery of what was to come. Their mission had begun in earnest, yet the roads ahead were veiled in both risk and possibility. What awaited them could change everything. The next morning dawned with the sound of chirping birds and the scent of dew-kissed grass. Mary rose early, her heart fluttering with anticipation. She knew this day would mark a significant turn in their mission. The fresh energy from their last gathering still pulsed in her veins, urging her to take decisive steps. As she brewed her morning tea, she envisioned the community kitchen they dreamed of creating. It would be a hub, warm and welcoming, where families could gather, share meals, and support one another. "Lord, let this vision come to life," she breathed, wrapping her fingers around the warm cup, seeking not just warmth but divine affirmation. Later that morning, Jonathan arrived with a beaming smile. "Mary, I can feel it!" he exclaimed, almost bouncing on his feet. "People are buzzing with excitement. Just wait until you see how many have come to help us." They walked briskly to the park, where a portable table awaited them. There, they had set up a community meeting. Jonathan gestured widely, his passion contagious. "Today, we share our vision, ignite hope, and gather resources. We will not only tell our stories, we'll show what can be achieved by faith in action." As people trickled in, Mary's heart swelled. The crowd was a tapestry of faces, young and old, new friends and familiar ones. They each bore burdens, yet in this moment they were united by the promise of something greater. Mary stepped forward and the chatter faded. "Thank you all for coming. Today isn't just about ideas, it's about stepping forward together," she began. "We've seen hope brought to life through acts of service. We've felt God's call to uplift our community. Let's transform this hope into action." A ripple of excitement sparked, and hands shot up with suggestions. "What about clothing drives?" one woman proposed. "And we could host a skill-sharing fair," another chimed in. Jonathan noted every idea, his enthusiasm infectious. Mary's spirit soared. Each suggestion was a brushstroke on their canvas of change. She saw God painting something beautiful right before her eyes. Yet amidst the buzz, Caleb stood quietly, his brows furrowed. "What if this vision is too big?" he finally voiced, vulnerability lacing his tone. "What if we stretch ourselves too thin?" The room held its breath, sensing the tension between faith and fear. Mary felt the weight of Caleb's words, but she also sensed a deeper truth. She took a breath. "Caleb, what if indeed? But what if we trust him for every step? Can we not look back at our other challenges and see how God has provided?" The air crackled with a shift. A collective breath was drawn, and then a voice from the back broke the silence. "I believe if we walk boldly forward, God will meet us where we are." It was an older man who had watched with keen eyes. A smile crept across his face, as sturdy as the oaks around them. "That's it," Jonathan grinned, clapping his hands. "Faith is action. If we reach for our dreams, they will bloom." With renewed energy, the group rallied together. As hands joined in prayer, hope enveloped them like a warm blanket. The sunlight filtered through the branches above, illuminating their connecting hands, an undeniable sign of divine presence. In the days that followed, volunteers flocked in. Flyers were posted, meetings were held, and planning sessions continued with fervor. Each person brought gifts, cooking skills, organizational talents, creative ideas. Love blossomed in unexpected places, fortifying their dream. But as the first project took shape, shadows lurked at the edges. Resources grew thin, and doubts began to creep back in. Mary couldn't shake the nagging thought that perhaps the journey would demand more than they had anticipated. "God, are we prepared for this?" she whispered late one evening, kneeling in silent prayer. The uncertainty loomed, but the response was as clear as a bell. Trust. Would they resonate with that call, stepping by faith despite all uncertainty? Would they be ready to unleash abundance, even amid the darkness? The questions loomed large, hinting at something more profound and transformative on the horizon. What would unfold next could change everything the way they envisioned. The day arrived, bright and clear, as excitement hung thick in the air. Mary felt the exhilarating pulse of hope reverberate through her spirit. Today was not just another day. It was the culmination of dreams birthed through faith, and the promise of transformation shimmered just out of reach. As she arrived at the community center, a wave of people greeted her, filling the space with laughter. Each face echoed stories of struggles met with courage. Tables laden with food, clothing, and supplies beckoned, a testament to their combined resolve. Mary paused, taking a moment to absorb the scene, her heart swelling with gratitude. They were not merely friends, they were a family bound by a shared mission. Jonathan's voice rose above the chatter. "Everyone, Today is our day to show the power of love in action." His eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. Mary joined him at the front, her pulse matching the rhythm of their collective heartbeat. "Today, we help one another. We share not just resources, but hope." As she spoke, they transformed the community hall. People embraced, exchanging heartfelt stories as laughter intertwined with prayers. Mary saw relationships strengthen, bonds bloom like spring flowers. But amidst the joy, she felt the shadow of doubt linger. Would they sustain this? Was their faith strong enough to overcome adversity as they moved forward? Just then, as if on cue, Sarah, the woman with stories of resilience, approached Mary, her eyes glistening with determination. "Mary, I had an idea after yesterday. What if we hold skill-sharing workshops? We teach each other what we know." Mary's heart lit up. "Yes, that's brilliant. We can empower each other." Word spread quickly, and soon many more ideas poured in, each one weaving deeper connections among the group. They envisioned not just a day of sharing, but a movement that could uplift the community for generations to come. By the end of the day, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky with strokes of fiery orange, the center buzzed with activity. They had exceeded their goals. Families left with not just necessities but a spark of community spirit ignited in their hearts. Yet as lights dimmed and the crowd began to disperse, Mary felt a tug of urgency in her spirit. "What's next? We need a plan for keeping this fire alive," she voiced, rallying those still gathered. Caleb spoke up, his once timid heart bold now. "Let's create a monthly gathering to keep the momentum going, like a community night where we celebrate, learn, and grow together." "Wonderful!" Mary exclaimed. Laughter erupted anew at the idea, the night air shimmering with enthusiasm as they envisioned the future. That week, they came together, designing the first community night. The expectations soared. News spread throughout the town, resonating with countless hearts yearning for connection. But as days turned into weeks, doubts began to edge back into Mary's heart. Would people show up? Would they maintain their commitment? Would fear cause them to falter? On the night of the first gathering, Mary arrived early, anxiety bubbling in her stomach. She peered into the now brightly lit community hall, its warmth inviting, yet still, her heart beat rapidly. Each minute felt like an hour as she waited, hoping for the door to swing open. And then, people began to trickle in, at first hesitantly, then with growing confidence. The hall buzzed as laughter filled the space, an orchestra of joy. Like bees surrounding a bountiful garden, each person brought a unique gift, a shared story. As Mary welcomed them, her heart blossomed with gratitude. The space transformed. Walls reverberated with testimonies of hope, and challenges shared bonded them closer together. The warmth reminded her that God's presence dwelled within this gathering. "Let's pray together," Mary urged, and the room collectively bowed as voices united in trust, asking for guidance and strength. It was then, as they prayed, that Mary felt the overwhelming presence of God. She sensed the promises flooding in, the power released through their unity. Amid the whispers of faith, she could hear Jonathan's soft voice, an anchor amid the storm of uncertainty. "We are not just individuals, we are a community in service of God's purpose." Tears of joy began to trickle down Mary's cheeks. She realized abundance wasn't solely about filling stomachs or providing clothes. It was about weaving hearts into a tapestry of love. They were meant to reflect God's light to the world. As people shared their stories, hope filled the air like incense rising, and the miraculous atmosphere wrapped around them. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Mary understood now that the strength of their resolve would anchor them. These connections were rooted in love, and with love, nothing was impossible. Days rolled into months, filled with gatherings that celebrated victories small and large, collectively embracing their journey. They became a beacon in the community, reaching out to those in need, planting seeds of faith wherever they roamed. And through it all, Mary's heart beat steadily with peace and purpose, knowing every moment had been a divine revelation. The darkness of doubt that once sought to claim her had faded into mere whispers beneath the harmonious hymns of faith and unity. As the sun set on another successful community night, Mary closed her eyes, feeling the warm embrace of God's love envelop her. This was not just the end. This was a divine beginning for countless lives to be transformed through their shared gifts. This was only the beginning of the miraculous journey that awaited them, and she was ready. Her heart whispered a prayer of gratitude. As she took each step forward, she could feel God guiding her, and she knew they would conquer every storm together. This is where the story of faith doesn't end but expands. What awaits in the heart of those who believe, those who act on faith? Adventure, blessings, and a legacy wrapped in love, abundance of the divine soul. And now, brother and sister, the time is now. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss these exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. We are calling you to comment your reactions and testimonies about this incredible ending. Do not wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of God's love. Stand firm in faith and help spread the light.